So now, as we all know that the contest season is about to start, I'm sure each one of you is excited and pumped up for the contest. Now, to help you tickle your funny bone, Deccan Toastmasters Club bring you to an educational session on humorous speech today. To conduct the session on humorous speech workshop, I would like to share a small story as why a speaker is so serious about her life. Pankaja, when I didn't know you well and saw you always laughing, I thought, is Pankaja mad? This is what Latika, Pankaja's classmate in 7th standard, said to her. Pankaja then thought of doing something serious with life, and she became a Commonwealth scholar and did PhD in public policy at the University of Birmingham, UK. Then she became a Ford Foundation Fellow and seriously did research at the Johns Hopkins University. Then she joined Toastmasters and seriously became the first runner-up at the District 98 Humorous Speech Contest 2021. Now, please help me welcome Toastmaster Pankaja, who will help us get all our queries regarding how to write humorous speech and deliver it. Over to you, Toastmaster Pankaja.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day and Acting President, Toastmaster Rajita. Humorous speech, that's scary, isn't it? It's hard. Now, if you can hear me, please clap twice. I can't see everyone. So if you can hear me, please clap twice. That's better. I'm honored to be here. I have always had this dream of, stepping into the Deccan Gymkhana on the Deccan Road, and then that club, oh my God. And I used to come there. I was at the Persistent Toastmasters Club. I used to walk there, sit at the back and watch you splendid speakers. And I said, wow, they speak so well. And all the grandeur and all of that. I never dreamt of being here at your club and being invited to do an educational session. So I'm absolutely honored. So thank you so much for this. Now, if you were to walk out from this session with a framework that would help you to deliver an excellent humorous speech, any speech within the contest, beyond the contest, would you be happy? If you get a framework that you can use for a humorous speech, for a serious speech, for an angry speech, would you be happy? Great. Now let's see, Jagdish, what is your biggest challenge when you deliver a humorous speech?
I don't become sure that people will laugh at it.
You're not sure. We absolutely. We all have this
self-doubt, rather say.
Self-doubt, yes. Ashish, what's your biggest challenge?
Trying not to laugh at my own jokes.
You?
Trying not to laugh at my own jokes.
You try not to laugh at your own jokes. Okay. So we have these two questions here. Now, I'll give you a short answer here. Now, when you don't know whether the others are going to laugh at your jokes, what do you do? What does a scientist do in the lab? A scientist is not sure whether what he's doing, spending hours in the lab, will be a success. So what does he do? He keeps testing it over and over again until he finds the results. Isn't it? That's how a scientist works, experiment. It's the same formula also with us. Now, I've given the short answer over here now. Now comes the long answer. The long answer is in the form of this framework. And this framework comes to us from the world champion of public speaking of 1999, Craig Valentine. Now, Craig has his framework of the 9 C's. How many C's? 9 C's. The first C is curiosity. When you come on the stage, the audience is thinking, now what is she going to say? The audience is curious. And you as a speaker, you have to escalate that curiosity. How? It can be in the form of a question. For example, Toastmaster Ruchi, did anyone ever laugh at you? How did you feel? Do you
Yes,
have,
there are many
do I
times.
have your attention now, Ruchi? Yes. So a question is a good form of raising the curiosity. Okay. Or it could be in a form of a sentence, which could be in this way. The night of January 16, 1941 changed India's history as Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, disguised, escaped from his home, Elgin Road in Kolkata. Are you curious? Do you want to know what happened after that? On that night, you are curious. So that two sentences is what has escalated your curiosity to know more. So the first C is curiosity. The second C is circumstances. That is the setup. So when you see a movie, for example, they'll show you the garden. It's 11 o'clock at night. It's the garden. And there's this big house there. It's in Kolkata, Elgin Road. And then they zoom on to the pathway and then to that back room where Netaji is disguising himself as Muhammad. Okay. So what was the setup? The C was that they tried to give you the scene first. It's Kolkata, it's the bungalow, the garden there, 11 o'clock night, and then they take you to that room where Netaji is sitting. So that is called the circumstances. And do it very quickly. 2 sentences, and that's it. Your audience is hooked to your story. So first C was curiosity. Second C is circumstances. Third C is characters. Do we know characters? Okay. Now, why do we need characters in the story? Indira, can you help us? Why do you think we need characters?
To make it more impact in the story. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely, yes. So for example, if I were to tell you that after Netaji was disguised as Muhammad, he quickly stepped out along with his nephew, Shishir Bose. So now you know you have 2 characters in the story. You have Netaji and his nephew, Shishir Bose. So we started with curiosity, second is circumstances, third is characters. Fourth is conversations. Now, think of a movie, any movie that you go to, you get to know the feelings from where? From the conversations. The romance, the tragedy, all comes to you from that. Have you ever seen Shah Rukh Khan come on the stage and say, I love this girl called Sharmili. She is in the 2nd year of college. I really love her. I want to marry her. But the problem is the father. Her father wants to get her married tomorrow. And I don't have a job. And I can't do anything. Do you see ever Shah Rukh telling a story like this? No. He'll talk to the girl. I love you. He'll tell this to his friend, to his sister. And through the dialogues that he does with that girl whom he loves, his sister or his friend, you get to know that he loves this girl. That's the technique we also use in storytelling. Use the dialogues because the purpose of any story is to elicit emotions. And that cannot come if you just narrate the story. Bring in characters, have them speak to each other. So if I were to say that Netaji then said to Shishir in the car who was at the wheel, Shishir, fast, fast, fast. Then you get to feel that emotion there, right? Between the 2 characters in the scene. So we started with the first C was curiosity, second, circumstances, third, characters, fourth, conversations. The 5th C is the most important. They say it's the hook of the story, and that is conflict. Now, why do you think conflict is so important? So, Jasmita?
To me, conflict means we can add a twist to the story, and it can generate interest of the audience.
Okay. Yes. So absolutely. Interest, yes. And to add to that more, now suppose if I were to tell you that Shishir Kumar Bose in the car with Netaji was driving fast. And then the police van came and stopped in front of them. So what happened? Here was one movement happening. The car is speeding and here comes the van which blocks the speed. So you have two opposing forces. Now the audience wants to know more as to how did Netaji overcome this obstacle, right? So when you have a conflict, the audience wants to know how did the hero now overcome, and that is why it is the hook of the story. So we started with curiosity, second, circumstances, third, characters, fourth, conversations, fifth, conflict. The sixth step is cure. Cure is C-U-R-E, cure, that you have a conflict and then you tell them what happened. So if I were to say that Netaji were able to dodge the police and then they sped and he reached Germany. Okay, so that's what happened. Now, even before that, when we say cure, it's more to do with the mind. How did the heroes, or what did the heroes think in the mind? Some change happens there in the mind, and that is the cure. And because of that change which happens in the mind, you take some action, and then comes the next C, which is change. So cure is what happens in the mind, in your perception. You take some actions, and now the outside world sees the change. And now Netaji has reached Germany. So we started with curiosity, circumstances, characters, conversations, conflict, cure, change. Are you with me till this? Great. So now the next step is callback. Now, if I say that now Netaji said in my entire life, also in my school, I never had to disguise myself. Okay? So it's a callback to which C? Unmute, speak out.
To the first scene.
To the first scene where they tell you that Netaji is in the back room, is disguising himself. So callback is that, so in your story, the technique is plant the seeds in the beginning. And then you can do a callback to that scene. And you can take your audience back to those seeds. So that is a callback. So curiosity, circumstances, characters, conversations, conflict, cure, change, callback. And the ninth C is your takeaway. Your takeaway from the story or the message. Okay, so that is the takeaway of your story. And that is known as okay, so a last C is it means the takeaway. Okay, so that is your takeaway. So we have the 9 C's. Okay, now I'm going to ask you very quickly. Unmute yourself. Okay, and whoever wins the prize, whoever says all the answers very quickly, Rajita is going to give them a chocolate from my behalf. All right, now unmute. First C.
Curiosity.
Great. Second C.
Circumstances.
Questions.
Circumstances.
Third C.
Characters.
Character.
Character. Fourth C.
Conversation.
Conversation.
Conversations among the characters. 5th C.
Conflict.
Conflict.
Conflict. 6th C.
Cure.
Cure. 7th C.
Change.
Change.
Change. 8th C.
Callback.
Callback.
Callback. And 9th C is a takeaway. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. So now that we have the 9 C's in place and we have a framework now, I'll tell you a story now. Now you might have seen and heard me telling this story, which is fine. Now I'll tell you the story once again, and you keep this framework at the back of your mind. And then after we tell the story, you tell me which element was where in that story. Fine? Okay? Wow. All right. Pankaja, you are so skinny and you have lost even more weight. That's my neighbor. Leena laughter wala. She doesn't understand the pain of a skinny person. My not so skinny friends tell me that to gain weight, they just have to walk past a cake shop and smell the cakes. And they gain weight. It's that easy for them. And I can eat the whole cake shop and still lose weight. Do you know what I have to do to lose weight? Nothing. Just sit on a chair and be really stressed. I can get stressed by everything. I was born stressed and skinny. Friends, in my culture, skinny means unhealthy. People think your parents eat up your share. My mom and dad kept feeding me. They gave me buffalo's milk, cow's milk, goat's milk. They gave me such expensive medicines. Allopathy, homeopathy, sympathy. The end result, nothing. My neighbor said, Pankaja, if you don't gain weight, the strong winds will blow you away. Strong winds. Don't strong winds have any other work to do besides following me everywhere? Some grown-ups are so annoying. A few years later, my doctor, Dr. S, said, Pankaja, your height is 5 feet 1. Your minimum weight is 50.5 kilograms. I started chasing 50.5, and then my aunt said, Pankaja, don't worry. Just follow this simple home remedy. Take 5 apricots, 4 dates, 6 bananas, 1 cup of milk, 5 raw eggs, 1 matchstick to stir. Put everything into the mixer. Eat this every day, 6:33 a.m. I guarantee you will gain weight. And I lost weight. My waist shrunk and my off-white trousers said, buy me a belt. Everybody was complaining about my weight. My neighbors, doctor, aunt, and now even my trousers. And then I thought I should do something about my weight or lack of weight, try to do something new. And then I see this flyer. Naturopathy, drugless way to gain weight. I told my friend, Preeti, you are so positive. Listen, I've signed up for this amazing naturopathy course. I'm supposed to exercise, eat twice a day, fast once a week and then I'll gain my optimal weight, 50.5. Pankaja, you will gain weight by fasting? Yes. When you fast, you rest your digestive system. Your system becomes stronger and you gain your optimal weight, 50.5. I did the naturopathy basic course, the advanced course. I felt happier. I felt heavier. And I felt heavier and happier because I did one more thing. And that is, I started working on my book because I thought I should do something even more interesting. And so let me write my first book. I'll write about my fabulous failures. And I didn't succeed much because I was so upset before that I couldn't hardly write. But now, after the naturopathy course, I could write and I did write well. And so I was happier and I was heavier. Then one night, late from work, I was walking towards my home. And whom do you think I met? Yes, Leena Laughterwala. Pankaja, you have lost even more weight. Leena, are you trying to lose weight? Look, I want to gain weight. You want to lose weight. Give me some of your weight. Then we'll both be happy. Later in the night, I was back on the scales. Before the course, I was 46.5. After the naturopathy course, 50.5, 50.5, 50.5. 42.5. But I was happier. I was happier because now I worked on my book and I even laughed with Leena. You saw that. I could laugh because I had worked on my book and I felt 50.5 inside. That drowned the pain outside. You may have Leena Laughterwalas around you, pain around you. Fight the pain outside by finding what makes you happy. Feel 50.5 inside, and that will drown the pain outside. Okay, the story ends here, right? So now let's try to apply those 9 C's. Now it's a story, it's still on the way, it's evolving, it's not perfect, but let's see if you can apply those 9 C's over here. Okay, so unmute yourself. And so first C, circumstances. No, the curiosity. Were you curious? And what made you curious?
How you will change or how you will increase your weight. That was our curiosity because you were told us you are skinny.
Okay, so skinny was that. Okay, anyone else?
So during the start, when the conversation just started with the neighbor laughing, I mean,
yes,
the laughter and all that. So that made me curious, what's the story going to be about?
Okay, great. So a great answer, sir. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Second C, circumstances. What helped you to come along with me in my story? Circumstances. Or what was the setup? Anyone? Anita?
It made you write the circumstance. It made you write. You know that you can write.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay. Now, towards the beginning. So what were those circumstances there? Suchi?
Lose weight, that was the circumstance to me. That whole speech is going to be around that concept and your struggle through it.
Okay, thank you so much, Suchi. Yes. Jagdish? Jagdish? You raised your hand. Yeah.
Neighbors were passing comments and how you made laugh of yourself. So
All right,
that,
yes.
that was circumstance.
Okay, thanks so much.
That's all I was
Okay,
lacking.
so first you see, we have covered curiosity. Second is circumstances. Third is characters.
Characters.
So who were the characters in the story?
You and Lena. Neighbor.
Neighbor and aunt,
Doctor.
Mom, dad,
parents, yeah.
Parents.
Parents,
Your friend Preeti.
my friend Preeti, doctor,
Yes.
Doctor.
Your daughter.
Daughter.
trouser.
trouser as well.
Trouser.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
And that's the fun part. You can actually have inanimate objects and give them dialogues. It makes adds more fun. Okay, so it's a technique you can use for your speeches. So thank you so much. Now comes the next C is conversations. Now, were there any conversations in the story?
Yes.
Yes.
Many conversations.
Many conversations.
Many conversations. For
Lena,
example,
Lena told you that Pankaja, you are so skinny.
okay, great, yes. So we have this conversation. And in fact, Greg Valentine says that if in the first 45 seconds, if you don't have a conversation, you have lost your audience. It's him saying, not me. Okay, so it's Greg Valentine saying that. All right. So now after conversations, we have conflict.
Conflict.
Where was the conflict? Was there any conflict in the first place?
Yes. Your struggle with losing weight.
My struggle to gain weight. And what was happening?
You are losing weight.
Instead you were losing.
So we have two opposing forces, and that's the conflict, right? Absolutely. Yes, 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 yes. So after conflict, what do we have?
Cure.
Cure. So was there a cure there?
You are suggested to take some morning shakes with those ingredients.
Okay.
That kind of a cure for your gaining weight, maybe.
Okay. Fine.
Right.
Yes.
Write a book.
Yeah.
Write a book. All right. So I'm thinking, what do I do? Yes. Abhishek, anything
That
from you?
fasting cure, that herbal cure, you saw the flyer and you decided to try it.
All right, it's a cure. Okay, yes. So a cure is more in the mind where I'm saying I should do something about this. That's the cure which happens in the mind. And then you do something in the outside. And that's the change which happens in the outside. And then the outside world sees your change which happens there. Okay, so it's more on in the mind. Okay, fine. So thanks so much. Yes. So now we come to the change. So what was the change which happened?
You lost weight instead of gaining it.
All right. Yes, that was one. And was there any other change?
You started feeling from inside that you are 50.5.
Absolutely. That was a big change. All right. So that change happened because of the change in my perception now, in my head.
Yes.
And then I did a few things. It worked. And now it's a change which the outside world can see now. Okay. So a change happened. And what comes after change?
Callback.
So where was the callback?
You again met Lena, the neighbor.
All right. Okay. And what did I call back to? I met Lena, yes, but then
When you checked your weight again and it was 42.5. Instead of
yes.
gaining, you actually lost.
Right. Absolutely. So what we are saying is Lena had come in the first scene. So I had planted the seeds in the first scene, and now I'm calling back to that first scene again.
Yes.
I'm calling back to 50.5 again.
Yes.
Towards the last. Okay, so that's the callback. And the last is the
Takeaway.
takeaway. Okay, so what was the takeaway from the story for you?
That it is all in your mind.
Yes, it's your
You
purpose.
should be happy inside.
Inside.
Yes.
Be happy inside. So thank you, Shirista. Yes, be happy inside, be 50.5 inside, and then it doesn't matter.
Accept the
Wow.
way you are.
Excellent. So let's give ourselves a big, you are superb. You know already everything. So I was just here to help you revise what you already know. So big round of applause for everyone. Okay. So now I know we have, so how many minutes more now? we have some time for questions.
Yes, we do, Pankaja.
Timer?
Yes.
Oh, great.
It's a 27.5.
All right. So I have a couple of questions, okay, from you, but then I would like you to ask them since we have the time. So unmute and please ask.
So, ma'am, cure and change will always be based on conflicts in the story. Like whenever the conflict comes, and then only we have to think of cure and then the change, like change in perception or kind of what you have in your story today.
Right. So it's a wonderful question. So thanks for that. Now, let me give you an example. Now, in the same story, if I had told you, I'm skinny, but it doesn't matter. I'm always happy with that. Everyone has their own physique. I have mine. So it doesn't matter. But, you should always be happy with what you have. So what did I do now? I didn't show you that I was unhappy about it. I was struggling. So without my struggle, how do I inspire you to do anything? So unless I show you my conflict, how do I show you that because I did something, it helped me to overcome this challenge which I have?
Yeah.
And then I can inspire you to follow my way. Which means unless you have a conflict, I cannot bring you emotionally into my story.
Right.
I cannot show the change in me. And if I don't show the change in me, why will you buy my message? Have I answered your question? Abhijit?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. All right. Anything else? Come on. Quick.
Yeah, hi,
Pankaja, I had
Ruchi,
a
yes.
doubt.
Ruchi, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so my question is, how do you come up with a topic that relates with the audience and it is also funny? Because there are
So a red card is odd, so only a last question. Okay. Now, very quickly, experts say that what a comedy is? Tragedy plus time is comedy. Tragedy happens in your life. You let time to happen to that. Now you can laugh. So now I can laugh at what people told me about when I was skinnier than now. So have I answered your question? So go back to your life where you had the most tragic moments. You were most upset and frustrated and depressed, and you didn't want to go to that dark phase of your life. That dark phase is your gold mine. Go there and now recapture what people told you, how you felt, those conflicts happening there, and you hated them and all of that. And you uncover humor out of that. So that's how you find your humor in your stories and the topics for your speeches.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, friends, we have the red card up. So it was a pleasure talking to you. It was my honor. So thank you so much. So with this, I hand over the control back to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Rijita.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Pankaja. We thoroughly enjoyed every bit of it, and I am sure everybody has learned what you said, especially those 9 C's. Amazing session. Again, thank you on behalf of Deccan Toastmasters Club for taking time and conducting this amazing session for us. A huge round of applause for you, Toastmaster Pankaja, everyone.